YouTubers, what is up? It is Vinny Chill and Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. What's new with you?
Just summertime and trying to relax a little bit, have a few drinks, enjoy the sunshine, working on my tan, although it's not going that great. Been spending some time indoors working, but other than that, yeah, just getting ready for this con. I've heard that we're throwing in about 2 weeks.
Con, you say? What con?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be like the greatest accomplishment or the biggest mistake, somewhere in the middle. But of course, for all you kids out there, we are talking about Silver City Con, now only about 2 weeks away, Sunday, July 18th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 99-cent admission. If you're 12 or under, you get in for free. And thanks, another huge shout out to Alternate Universe down in, well, they have two shops, New Haven and Milford, Connecticut, generously donating. They were originally saying 150. Now, surprise, they are at 200 comics. So you are one of the first 200 people to walk in the door. You're going to get a free comic. You're going to get a coupon that's good for use at one of the alternate universe locations. Plus, they're also donating a book to us for the raffle that we're going to be doing throughout the day. So, huge shout out to Alternate Universe for that. Of course, we've got a food truck coming. The fine people at Craftwitch serving up some great food. And then we've got other prizes and giveaways and raffles that Chris and I are going to be doing ourselves. We are sold out, all the vendor tables. We've got over a dozen vendors filling up Silver City Hall floor. So it's going to be a great time. We're just hoping that by now you've seen a sign on the side of the road, you've seen a flyer in your local shop, you've seen an advertisement we've been running on Facebook and Instagram, and you're spreading the word and get everyone you know to come down. Right, Chris? We still want them to come down. Yeah. Okay. Just making. And of course, by now, you will have seen a couple interviews that we've done with Dan, who's more on the collectibles, Funko Pops, Pokemon cards, gaming, video game side, and then Coffee and Comics. Did an interview with them recently, showed off their nice collection of slabs and books, Silver Age through to modern. So that's just two of over a dozen vendors that you're going to see there. And they were nice enough to sit down with us and make some time for a little interview. And of course, offer still stands out there. If there are any other vendors that want to do the same, get a chance to come on the channel and do a plug, then by all means, please reach out to us. Let us know. We're always happy to do a little virtual interview. But enough with the announcements. This episode, we're talking all about MCU villain speculation. So we've got shows coming out later this year on Disney Plus related to the MCU. We've got days away from Black Widow hitting theaters, followed by Shang-Chi. The new trailer just came out not too long ago, and we saw Abomination in the trailer there, so we know Emil Blonsky's back. And then, of course, we've got Eternals, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and I don't know, at least probably 8 to 10 more movies over the next 2 years, and that's just what we know about. So we know that Black Widow is the start of Phase 4, and I believe Kevin Feige also said that the yet-to-be really cast and started. Fantastic Four movie is supposed to be the last movie of Phase 4. And then somewhere in the middle, we know that Kang the Conqueror is going to show up in Quantum Mania, maybe pop up in other stuff too. But the real question is, who is that Thanos level villain that's going to be able to have this big story arc throughout multiple phases, phase 4, phase 4 and 5, kind of like what we saw with Thanos trying to collect all the Infinity Stones and then use them, and then lose or win, and then go back in time and try to do all over again. So, Chris, where do you want to start? What are we talking here? Who do you think?
mean, look, this is what we're always doing as comic book fans, comic book collectors. It's our greatest joy, our greatest pain, speculation, right? So, I mean, I enjoy that. Right now in the MCU, right? You got time travel. They made rules, they broke the rules, so anything's possible. We know we're getting multiverses, right? We got shapeshifters, we got Skrulls. They really haven't, really utilized them. So they have, all these things that they can basically go anywhere they want. We're basically the first clone of someone away from anything's fair game. So, I mean, it's an exciting time. You said that, next Thanos level villain, it could be Thanos. I mean, the Eternals, I find it hard to believe they're not gonna somehow mention Thanos. I mean, he is a deviant. He's the deviants are the arch nemesis of the Eternals. So we could be seeing him again for another 10 years, or they might do, instead of a 10-year arc, maybe it'll be some 5-year arcs. And we haven't even gotten into the Fantastic Four or any of the mutants yet. So, which may include Namor, but so I mean, I'm gonna go with one villain off the top of the head that I think people stop talking about. It's Annihilus. So we're gonna see what happens with Guardians of the Galaxy. That Annihilation storyline would be interesting to see it play out. I think Chris Pratt said he's gonna show up until basically they have him escorted off the set for whatever movie he crashes or is involved with. So, I mean, I select the Annihilus book, the Fantastic Four annual. I got it behind me here. What number is it? 6. So, and that's the first appearance of Franklin Richards as well. And he's actually, speaking of Franklin Richards, he's got basically reality powers as a mutant. So, I like the Annihilus book. I think that'd be a good pickup. I think he'd be a great villain. They could do the Annihilation story arc could go on, on and on. So, what are you thinking?
Well, I think you brought up a good point, and the question to ask as a threshold issue is, do we even think that they're going to try to redo a Thanos level villain or outdo themselves, or do they just say, like, Thanos was indirectly involved in so many movies and spanned 2 phases, and it was a big payoff, but don't think we can have lightning strike twice, so we're not going to try that again. We're just going to keep it to, like, maybe a villain does a couple of movies, but not anything like the puppet master behind 10 or a dozen. So that's actually something that I think you first have to figure out, and my guess is that does sound like that's very plausible. I don't know if they're going to try to have a villain do as many movies as Josh Brolin did with Thanos, or even counting the cameos that weren't technically Josh Brolin, just kind of like CGI Thanos. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Kang is it. I think Kang is going to be in a few, but you might also see Kang pop up maybe as Iron Lad or Immortus or the Scarlet Centurion. So who knows? But I don't think he'll be around for more than just a few. I don't think he's that Thanos level. Shout out to Mike at DJ Comics in Central Connecticut. because we were talking the other day about this same subject, and Galactus came up, and he was like, well, Galactus shows up and you're kind of screwed. You're shit out of luck. It's really, they already attempted to kind of do him in an old Fantastic Four movie, but it's either you beat Galactus or you lose and everyone dies, planet destroyed. So if they tried to do Galactus again, how could you make him span multiple movies? It's kind of like he shows up and it's battle royale and only one is left standing at the end.
Yeah. I mean, segue in, you mentioned battle royale. I mean, the Russo brothers, I believe, were talking about the only way they would come back is for Secret Wars. So maybe we'll get kind of a more subdued villain, kind of behind the scenes, like a la the Grandmaster or the Collector. Maybe the Beyonder is going to be the villain, and the Beyonder also has a couple different forms in the comics. You maybe don't necessarily need an actor immediately, or and even for, as you mentioned, Kang, all those different personas, they could actually use different actors and different CGI or what have you to give him different appearances and keep the same actor, but kind of you could have the same actor for 10 years, you could have a bunch of different actors. I guess they can just manipulate whatever they want doing that. But I would love to see the Secret Wars storyline. They're bringing in basically all the characters now, and that would be a way to really maybe bring together the the multiverses, kind of massage the comic storylines for the MCU as they always do. And I think as I recall, the Beyonder books are fairly cheap. So your Secret Wars 2, number 3 or 4, something to that effect. But Secret Wars 2, that's his first like human form, and then there's another issue 2. But I mean, that's not a bad,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And what you said about the Russo brothers, I mean, given that Endgame was briefly the highest grossing film of all time, and then who knows, they re-release it like they re-released Avatar, and maybe it'll overtake Avatar again. Plus you throw in Infinity War, and I mean, it's just mega money. And Disney's like, okay guys, you want to do another two-parter? Fine. I think with billions of dollars to be made, I think we'll probably see something from the Russo brothers again. So I think they'd have to change things around maybe to make the plot work, with given how much has already come out as far as the storyline and what's canon now. But they could always say, who knows, time travel, multiverse, I don't know. Going back really quickly to Fantastic Four, I mean, you mentioned Annihilus, I mentioned Galactus. I think one of the villains that we haven't mentioned yet is, of course, Doctor Doom. Now, he's been done and done again, but I think there's no way we avoid seeing him in the MCU. And I think kind of like with Magneto, when the X-Men come in, it's like that's just like the villain, the arch nemesis. So at some point, we're going to have to see Magneto and Doctor Doom. Do they turn them into like a Thanos level, or do they just sort of keep them in a lower level, like one-off film, maybe 2 films? My money's on probably having it go the way of just 1 or a couple films. And I mean, if they're going to use the Hickman material for X-Men, then you could see, if they start to do that in the MCU, you're going to see Magneto's really like part of everything. Like it's all kumbaya and Xavier and Magneto and all the other mutants living there. So he may not even be a villain when we see him in the MCU.
No, that's true. I mean, the other thing I think about sometimes with picking a villain is, you saw what Scarlet Witch is now capable of, from the show, and she went toe to toe with Thanos at the end of Endgame, and with his his minions, so to speak, his lieutenants. And obviously the next one is Captain Marvel, and I mean, she she more than went toe to toe. Basically, he needed to get an Infinity Stone just to hold her off.
Right.
So I think you need to have a villain that's gonna, has that power level. I mean, some of the intellectual, it goes back to that. I'm a DC, I'm a Marvel, with Lex Luthor versus Green Goblin way back in the day. I don't think they're going to go that route in the MCU. They want their action scenes. And I know Marvel, at this point, they want their flagship, I think, to be Spider-Man. Robert Downey Jr. is now out of the MCU for all intents and purposes. Captain America, the mantle has been, moved over, but they've always wanted Spider-Man back in the MCU, and that's why they arranged this whole deal. And we got the new Venom movie coming out, and I think the end of the story kind of fizzled a little bit, but I go back to Null. I'm interested to see what happens in the Spider-Man movie, things like that. Can Null be a 5-year, 10-year villain? Maybe they give him a little bit bigger due than the books did, quite honestly. But I think he's the god of darkness. It doesn't get much bigger than that, so it'd be kind of interesting to see. Maybe they will go that route. Maybe they can work out a deal with Sony, and we'll get all that stuff in there one way or the other.
Yeah, I know you've been pushing this Null, and it was good. It was a good story arc. Like you said, it kind of fizzled out at the end, but I enjoyed it, and it'd be good to see it there. I don't know if, you think it's gonna be fast tracked, like right from the books, ink just dried, like right into movies? I don't know.
It seems a little sketchy, a little far-fetched. I think we're still one of those little swirly marks from, those books going crazy, and then these stained glass pictures in WandaVision and Loki, the Mephisto route, I think it's a little too religious, and, to basically have the devil in the MCU. So I think, devil by proxy might be the way to go. And I'm a Venom fan. That was one of the characters that came out when I was younger, reading comics, Carnage, loved the symbiotes, really enjoyed the first Venom film. I know it didn't, the critics didn't love it. Excited for the second one. Damn it, I want to see Venom in the MCU. We got Spider-Man in the MCU, and I want to see Spider-Man with the symbiote. I want to just see it on the big screen. And have it done justice, I
was just gonna say, you could go pop in Spider-Man 3, watch Topher Grace's Venom. You can do that.
I don't want to.
Nothing against Topher Grace. I don't think. I don't know that movie. The first two were so good, and then the third one just kind of petered out.
They just tried to do a little too much. That's why, if we have 10 years of Marvel movies that remember 3 a year, they'll get it right.
So I think you just mentioned again Spider-Man, and I think I would love to see Vincent D'Onofrio come back as Kingpin. He is a top caliber actor. He seems to love playing the part, from rumor has it. I would love to see him. Charlie Cox is coming into Spider-Man 3 later this year, and if they work in, him to be an MCU villain with Spider-Man and Daredevil, then that would be fantastic. Is he going to be that level, Thanos level? No, but it would be nice to see him in the background, but sort of not a stone's throw away, but sort of keeping in that same realm. Another idea that I've heard is that they could be bringing back Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. Now, it's interesting that he could be around for multiple movies trying to piece together the Sinister Six to fight Spider-Man later on. And Thanos' quest for obtaining all the Infinity Gems, then that could be him trying to piece together all the members of the Sinister Six over movies. So it's the same quest that takes maybe the entire MCU phase to put together the Sinister Six, and it's not going to be a ton of action really, like, getting the gems, but it's going to be putting together the team and then having this all out fight with the Sinister Six. So I don't know. That's something I could see them doing. And I would look forward to that.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if that's, that could be how we get maybe a little Spider-Gwen, a little Miles in the MCU, and
Silk.
yeah. I mean, they're talking about, right? I mean, well, the other Spider-Verse movie, well, it's animated. They're talking about bringing in Spider-Woman, and they already have, what, 3-4 other Spider personas in the in that movie, and there's tons more. I mean, they said Spider-Man India is slated to be in a new Spider-Verse movie, so maybe it would be a Sinister Six versus Spider-Verse kind of thing, and bringing those characters. I mean, everyone is banking on Miles coming in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
I don't know exactly how he's gonna this is where I started off with time travel, multiverses, shapeshifters, anything's possible. So that's the fun part of it. That's why we're all dying to go see Black Widow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, can't wait. I already got my tickets, had them for a few weeks now, so can't wait. Get back in the theater, see it on the big screen the way it was intended. Looking forward to that. But again, Taskmaster, not really. Tony Masters, not really the level villain. He plays a good sidekick role, but minion, not villain. But yeah, we'll see. And then, one more thing I wanted to mention that because you went with a little bit of Spec, and I haven't heard too much, but I know I've mentioned it to you, and I keep going back to the game and the most recent thing on Hulu. So, they kind of butchered AIM in the MCU, having it be Aldrich Killian and, Guy Pearce and all that extremist stuff, fake Mandarin. I mean, it wasn't the people in the beekeeper costumes. It wasn't the adaptoids and super adaptoids. No MODOK yet, nothing like that. So the Hulu, the MODOK head games that, I showed you guys a while ago, read all 4 issues of that, written by Patton Oswalt, who's the voice of MODOK in the show. Monica Rappaccini, big part of that, his arch nemesis, like vying for control of AIM. She kind of kicks out MODOK and, has the board kind of like hostile takeover of the company. And of course, in the video game, very popular. She was, sort of the puppet master behind the scenes. And then the most recent downloadable content brought her back with the Cosmic Cube, which is something that hasn't even been touched in the MCU. So you've got that invented by, I think, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby back in the 60s. So she's got the Cosmic Cube now and wielding that against the Avengers. So that's kind of like an Infinity Stone level weapon. No one's really talking Monica Rappaccini. And I think she could be someone that's like really big in the MCU if they do it correctly. And then that ties in because the new Scorpion is her daughter. And I'm looking at it because it's right here on my wall. It's Amazing Fantasy number 7 from 2005. So it's the first appearance of the new Scorpion. And that's also, I mean, the CGC book doesn't even list it as first appearance of Monica Rappaccini, even though I know it is. So that just shows you how under the radar she's been. That's she's not even listed on the little cover. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think we'll save the rest for another video. But I mean, trying to think, anything's possible. And again, we haven't even touched any of the X-Men, villains, and even the anti-heroes at this point that maybe started off as a villain and are now heroes in the MCU for decades. So, I don't know. So, throw us a comment, tell us what you think. We're fans like all the rest of you. So, and your opinion is just as good as anyone else on YouTube. So we love to hear from you.
That's right. Yeah. We're just spewing hot air here into the room. So, you think we are on to something? Are we hot? Are we cold? We're completely missed the mark. Let us know. Reach out to us. Come to the con. We're going to do at least one more episode before then, but love to see you all there. Spread the word. But until next time, stay safe, stay nerd.